Good afternoon, everybody. I'd like to call this special meeting of the Renfrew County Housing Corporation to order at 2:30 p.m. We'll start with our land acknowledgement. As we gather this afternoon, I would like to acknowledge on behalf of council and our community that we are meeting on the traditional territory of the Algonquin people. We would like to thank the Algonquin people and express our respect and support for their rich history. And we are extremely grateful for their many and continued displays of friendship. We also thank all the generations of people who have taken care of this land for thousands of years. Wendy, has roll call been taken?
Yes, Mr. Chair, roll has been taken.
Thank you. Are there any disclosures of pecuniary interest and the general nature thereof? Seeing none, then we will move on to our special meeting, and we will have our manager of real estate present his report. Kevin, please go ahead.
Thank you, Chair, and good afternoon. On page 3 of the report, we have a bylaw item number 2, tender for Social Services Relief Fund Phase 2-03 Nelson Street Fencing Project, Pembroke, Ontario. And we have a recommendation that the Renfrew County of Housing Corporation Board of Directors recommends to the Community Services Committee that County Council approve that tender SSRF Phase 2-03 be awarded to Balpro Construction in Brampton to supply and install additional fencing of the 24 units at 435 to 481 Nelson Street, Pembroke, Ontario, in the amount of $270,006.23 plus GST. And further, that County Council pass a bylaw to authorize execution of the contract. Regarding the background, Renfrew County Housing Corporation issued a request for tender to supply and install additional fencing at the Nelson Street complexes. And this was the third time that this project was tendered, and we received 2 quotes. Funding is through the Social Services Relief Fund 2, and this project was to be completed by December 31st, 2021. And just an update here, Chair. We have received approval from the Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing. They have approved the extension, allowing us to have the project completed by June 30th, 2022. And so 2 tenders were received from Valley Windows and Doors and Balpro Construction. The procurement of the services included in this tender followed the requirements set out in policy GA-01. And the financial implications, the County of Renfrew received $194,880.49 from the Social Services Relief Fund, Phase 2. And the balance of this project would be covered and accounted for within the Renfrew County Housing Corporation 2022 budget. And that concludes this report.
Thank you, Kevin. Can I get a mover and a seconder for the recommendation, please? Moved by Councillor Regier, seconded by Councillor Reinwald. Any comments or questions? Councillor Reinwald, please.
Thank you, Chair. And through to Kevin, I noticed the 270K, I'm sure there'll be something in the contract that'll state something to the effect with the escalated material costs, because I was just heard on the radio this morning, KI, their metal materials had gone up 180 some percent in just a very short time frame. So I would expect something similar would probably happen with, with the fencing also.
Through you, Chair, and to the councillor, thank you for that question. Yes, the contractor has indicated that some of the materials have increased in cost. There's 2 components to this project. The first component or phase would be the extension of the existing steel fence. And then the second part is the installation of the composite product. And that product is their supplier is out of the US, and costs have increased, and there's probably about a 10-week delivery on that product.
Councillor Giacono, and then back to you, Councillor Reinwald.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. What is it? You're replacing the fencing. Is it the same type of fencing was there previously, or is it a different type of material?
So just to confirm, the existing fencing that is in place, it's a steel wrought iron fence. So we will be extending that fence, I think by a total of 18 inches. So there'll be steel fabrication involved. And then again, the second component to that would be, they would be installing the composite fencing that's incorporated into the existing steel fence, kind of the privacy component of the project.
Councillor Reinwald.
Thank you, Chair. My question was answered. Thank you very much. Thanks, Ed.
Director Lapine, you had your hand up. Was there anything you wanted to add?
Thank you, Chair. I wanted to just mention that this was a project that we had submitted through the Social Services Relief Fund Phase 2, and this was back last year, where back then the Social Services Committee approved that as part of planning for this pandemic and future pandemics, that we install some privacy fencing in this particular property area so that families with children could get outside and play and have a safe environment. So it is part of an enhancement to an existing structure. It is also, the design was also to, build upon it so that the privacy piece would also be a strong component. This was something that we were wanting to get started much sooner, as Manager Kevin has spoken to, but it has been a very challenging year in terms of getting any of the work that we wanted to get done on this project completed. But we do have, as Kevin identified, some good tenders in front of us, and this work will definitely meet the social services relief funding criteria as outlined by the Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing. Thank you, Chair.
Warden Robinson.
Thank you very much, Chair. I'm just actually did a Google map thing, so I'm looking at the property. Is the fencing going to be replacing what looks like a wrought iron fence along the sidewalk? That's my first question. The second question is there going to be a privacy fence between the units as well? Because some people have put in shrubbery to provide division there, and then there's others that's kind of wide open. I'm just wondering what that's going to look like, and it would be really great if we would have some kind of picture of what would happen here for these folks who are basically almost living on the street.
Through you, Chair, to the Warden. Thank you for that question, Warden. So just to confirm, we're utilizing the existing steel fence that's in place. So we're extending that steel fence. I think it's 18 inches in height, and then there is the composite material that will be installed pertaining to the privacy component of the fencing project.
Follow up, Warden.
Thank you, Chair, and through you to Mr. Raditz. So the privacy fencing is at the front of the property as well, not between the units? Am I correct?
The privacy fencing is at the front of the properties. Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments? I just had one, Mr. Raditz. Was there enough money in our budget, in addition to the social services relief funding? Was there any monies in the Renfrew County budget for this project, or will that have to be accounted for in the 2022 budget?
Thank you, Chair, for that question. That will be accounted for in the 2022 budget.
Thank you. Yes, Mr. Morrow.
I see Jeff's on the line, and I just want Jeff to clarify that with the province's permission that they've given us, that allows us to move this money, though, to the 2022 budget, correct?
Mr. Foss.
Thank you, Chair, and good afternoon, committee. Yeah, as I understand the project, the accounting rules for what financial period we can record activity into are fairly clear. Goods delivered or services rendered within the fiscal period. And as I understand it from Kevin, there is a pretty significant delay in this project that's going to move us back into the 2022 fiscal period. So it doesn't seem like there's much chance of us getting any of this work done or any of these invoices paid from a progress payment perspective in 2021. So all of this needs to move into 2022. The report does highlight the fact that the funding has a deadline of December the 31st, 2021. And that was the challenge, I guess, that Laura had before her, asking the province for an extension to be able to complete this work in the 2022 calendar year with that with that deadline that is in the documentation as it sits today. So perhaps Laura, can you confirm for us any updates on our extension into 2022? And that's certainly what we're counting on.
Thank you. Through you, Chair, to committee. We did receive confirmation. A letter has come in from the Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing just an hour or so ago, confirming that they will be forwarding the funding to us and this project can continue into 2022. So our funding is secure for the amount that we originally requested. The amount that we requested and they agreed to is the amount in the report, which I believe is sorry, I just have to scroll down here. $194,880.49. As Mr. Raditz had identified, there has been some cost escalation that we are factoring into next year's budget as well, because these are Renfrew County housing properties as well. So it is our property. So the extra funds coming out of our budget next year is adding to the enhancements to these properties. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any further questions? Seeing none, I will call the vote then. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. So the date of our next meeting will be at the call of the chair. Can I get a mover and a seconder for adjournment, please? Moved by Councillor Reinwald, seconded by Councillor Jacquinot. All in favor? That's carried. We are adjourned. The special meeting of Community Services to order at 2:44 p.m. Roll call has been taken. Are there any disclosures of pecuniary interest in the general nature thereof? Seeing none, then we will move to the Community Services Department report, and that will be Director Lapine that will provide that report.
Thank you. Through you, Chair, to Community Services Committee. Because you were also present with Renfrew County Housing Corporation Board of Directors, this will be a repeat, but I'll try to make it as succinct as possible. So in my report, it's a bylaw, and the bylaw is a tender for the Social Services Relief Fund, SSRF Phase 2, Nelson Street Fence Project, Pembroke, Ontario. May I read the recommendation, Chair?
Yes, please, go ahead.
Thank you. The recommendation is that the Community Services Committee recommends the County Council approve tender SSRF Phase 2-03 be awarded to Ballpro Construction, Brampton, to supply and install additional fencing at 24 units at 435 to 481 Nelson Street, Pembroke, Ontario, in the amount of $270,006.23 plus HST. And further, the County Council passed a bylaw to authorize execution of the contract. The background is identified in the document. We discussed it in the past meeting. If you're okay with this, Chair, that will conclude my portion and certainly open to any questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Director Lapine. Any further questions? Seeing none, then can I get a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councillor Regier, seconded by Reinwald. All in favor? And that's carried. Thank you all very much. So the date of our the date of our next meeting will be at the call of the chair. And can I get a mover and a seconder for adjournment, please? Moved by Councillor Jacquinot, seconded by the warden. All in favor? Thank you. That was short and sweet.